Bad guys in this event, could it be a greedy old man? Yeah, it could be Chokaku. It could be like Columbus. It could be just a greedy man. For sure, for sure. So the bad guy of this event could just be a greedy old man, for sure. What about Chokaku? I think Chokaku will be an evil man second half of the event, if not like the last ladder of the event for shits and giggles. That explains all the CEs. What are you talking about, CZ Chan? Why is it all like flower based? Yeah. I do like the commercial. The commercial do be kind of bussin'. By the way, this is big. The biggest news of this entire event, by the way, is the fact that we get Omii-san. Omii-san 4-star assassin is crazy. Like, what the fuck? This is like, what's Hebi-nyobo? It means a snake wife. And snake nyobo has also another terminology to it. It's one of the folklore tales of hebi no medama, or tsuru nyobo, kasabata mie, tsuki yobo, or 動物や we can get the Hebi-nyobo. Hebi-nyobo is like a wife, right? Story. Usually there's not too much like story about it. But usually there should be a folklore and ghost stories about Hebi-nyobo. It's essentially it's the classic you know, like be kind to snakes and then kind of like be on to be whatever. But if you guys wanted the Samurai Remnant Berserker, low key, she's a great catalyst. Because she plays a very similar role to Umbe. So is she like a Miss Crane variant? Yes, she is. A story is similar to Miss Crane variant. That is correct. But this is an FGO exclusive servant because she came in during the Lancer Lancer Dragon, right? So in a way it has its own FGO spin. Because she's catered towards Bishone more than ever, for sure. But in the end, like, she do be, you know, she do be kind of bussin'. Prepare for more fan art? Yo, that's what I like to hear, DAYO. Fan art of Omii-san? Yes, please. Guy marries Snake White, but has to keep secret. Breaking the secret, they split up. So, fun fact about it, right? I believe Melisyn, OG Melisyn, has a story like this. Or at least a snake of sort. Let me get you a story, a wiki story. I think it was Melisyn, right? Melisyn. Yeah, a beautiful woman cursed to transform into a serpent or a mermaid from the waist down on Saturdays. Yeah, so this is Melisyn, like the proper human history story, where it's a female spirit of the freshwater or the holy well. She's usually depicted as a woman and serpent or a fish. Remember, snakes are serpents, or aka dragons. Much like Lamia or a mermaid. She's also sometimes illustrated with wings, two tails, or both. Legend specifically connected to the northern western France of Luxembourg of the Low Countries. The essentially the TLDR version of it is yeah, secretly discovered. Melisand's secretly gets discovered and then just kind of like gets cooked, right? Most famous literature is called John Ayres, written by So. He goes into detail about relationship with Melisand and Rob Hominin. Meeting in the story of the redaction of the Romans Pantry. Tales translated in German, which had an English version. Story tells how time of Crusade, King of Albany, old name for Scotland, goes into hunting in the forest and cope with the death of his wife. Elinus comes across the Well of Thirst where he meets a beautiful fae named Priscina. The two fall in love and propose. She agrees, only to swear that he never sees her birth or bathes their children. He promises and marries. Later, Priscina gives a wife to triplet girls named Melisand, Melior, and Palatine. When Navis informs the fathers the news, he breaks his promise, causing Priscina to leave the kingdom with their 3 daughters and move to the Lost Isles of Avalon. The 3 sisters grew up in Avalon, their mother bringing them atop of a mountain every morning to look at the kingdom that would have had been their home. On their 15th birthday, Melisand, the eldest, asked her mother why she and her sister had been taken from Alba. Upon hearing the father's broken promise, Melisand seeks revenge and convinces her sisters to aid her. Using their magical powers, the daughters lock him up in his riches in the mountains called Brandilios. Pressuring becomes enraged to learn what the daughters have done despite breaking his promise. Alina was her husband and the triplets of father to punish her daughters for killing his own father. Imprisoned Palatine in the same mountains as Elise, stealing Melior inside the castle all her life, banishes Melisand, the Instigor, from Avalon, also cursing her to take form of a 2-tailed serpent from a waist down every Saturday. If a man ever marries Melisand, he must never not see her on Saturdays. If kept oath, Melisand will live a content life with him, but if he breaks such violates privacy, she will stay serpent and appear in a noble house in her monstrous form and spend 3 days lamenting whenever descendants die or fortunes change hands. So it's kind of a very similar to this circumstances on top of a Japanese folklore of like the Miss Crane's shenanigans, right? So it's very cool. How you doing, Endoni? Welcome. We got Tsurunyobo, Hebi-nyobo. What about Kitsune-nyobo? And what about Tanuki? So I like your train of thoughts, right? Because now we do have a snake wife. It will come back to a fox wife. And fox wife and seimei goes hand in hand. So this might be a way to hint at Abe no seimei without hinting at Abe no seimei, which is really nice. It's kind of a story all over the world. Kind of. Like, easiest way to kind of get FGO people's attention is Melisand, so I just kind of went with that. Usually I go for Miss Crane's story, but, we're not Japanese. You guys aren't Japanese, so it's just best to go for more European side of stories. Also, I got pizza to eat, bruh. So it's really nice, right? But most likely this is gonna be FGO. Right here, pizza. Yeah, I got cheese pizza that's cold and hard as fuck because I was translating. I am surprised. That means that if enough artists draws a certain character, we're going to get her next year. Do you think the story of this event will tie into the new Aftertime story with being presented through the New Year's event, or will it be regular story events? I'm going to tell you this once, okay? The new story is canon because the new story requires you to finish Aftermath or After Story. So it is a canon event. And if you finished FGO Season 2, you know that every event is canon. So this is a canon event, canon story. So are we going to get a new Foxwipe Tamamo soon? No. But we can get Arya, which means that we can get another tail in our pockets, which is great. Because that'll be what? Tamamo, Cat, and then Arya. So we'll have 3 tails out of 9. Is this going to be a Tamamo variant? No, I'd rather at this point just get Arya. I don't want another Tamamo variant. We ordered 8 cheese pizza for lunch earlier from Pizza Hut. Ooh, damn, CZ. You busting it down. Yeah, I got cheese pizza and pepperoni pizza. Hard as hell, though. What about Tanuki? Dude. It would be pretty funny to get a Tanuki servant. Do we have a Tanuki servant?